Well, boys and girls, this is your old friend, the Dreamfinder, here to set off on another grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom.
The Disneyland Limited, now leaving for a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. All passengers board.
Star Tours announces the boarding of the Endor Express. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the door.
Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
I am Sam the American Eagle, and I am proud to introduce the Grand Circle Tour podcast, a celebration of Disney parks, but mostly the American ones. I really like these guys.
Hey gang, welcome to another exciting adventure of the Grand Circle Tour podcast. I'll be your host today, Captain Stan Solo. I am here with two of my favorite co-hosts. I got Jungle Skipper Jay. Jay, how are you and what's up?
Aloha, Stan. I am fantastic. Like to say I'm fantastic, but broke a toe a few weeks ago. Now I broke a finger, so I'm doing this one in all kinds of pain. That's how much I love you guys and our passengers. But so What's Up With Me is a podcast. It is a second podcast I'm doing, and it's kind of like the Disney Podcast Avengers, where we're going to get different Disney podcasters on and just talk Disney.
Oh, that sounds fun.
We did a dry run today. We're kind of rehearsing it, so I will let everyone know when that comes out.
That's pretty cool. Now let me ask you. So you broke your toe last week?
I broke a toe like 2 months ago.
Okay, and then today, when did you break your finger now?
I'm sure the passengers really want to hear this, but 2 weeks ago, I was closing a window before bed, and the pane of glass fell out of the window and crashed into my knuckles and broke.
Ouch. So what are you planning on breaking next, I guess is the question.
Since it's been left finger, I'm going to shoot for the right side this time.
Oh, I was hoping it would be your nose or something, but okay, we'll go for another finger.
No, I like my face. I like my face too much.
Okay, we'll keep your face the way it is. Also joining us today, we have Bellhop George. George, how are you and what's up?
Hey, Stan, how's it going?
Oh, it's great.
Well, since Jay has been doing his thing, like with his toe and fingers, I just have to tell passengers, I am in full Disney attire today. I'm actually dressed. Pretty much, I like to compare myself to Donald Duck. Like, that's how I'm dressed today. As much as passengers ain't going to know, I mean, it's a little bit of a running gag between us. But what's up with me? Well, I don't know if it was a few days ago or so that they announced that the Tomorrowland entrance sign will be taken down for a new entrance sign at Walt Disney World. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Have you seen what they're planning yet?
Somebody leaked I don't know if it's officially decided upon Disney, but they showed it in map form of how the new entrance sign was going to look. But I didn't really get a good
circular look.
Yeah, it was more round. Yeah, it was not. It was more wide than long. But I thought maybe it's a good sign, no pun intended, for things to come. For things to come, possibly with Tomorrowland, because between both resorts, I think Tomorrowland needs, aside from Tron coming, but just the land itself needs a facelift, a revamp.
You know what would be cool is if they had like a digital type sign for Tomorrowland, where it sort of spun around and they could have like digital letters. Have you seen those? I mean, I guess that would get old pretty quick, and you don't want Tomorrowland to get old quick. But you seen those new signs where they have like the little flipping things? You see them advertised on Facebook, where it's like one side's white, one side, something like that, like something kind of, interactive. Not so much interactive, but they could post wait times or something.
Didn't the park start those signs, the digital at Disneyland?
Yeah, Disneyland has those now throughout the park.
Yeah, but I mean like a big one.
Oh
Like
yeah,
a
I
big
think that would be
revolving
cool
one.
to use for Tomorrowland.
I saw that picture, George, and what I'm hoping is maybe that's a big digital projector, and they can throw all kinds of these cool digital projections they do on the castle, maybe over on the buildings of Tomorrowland at night.
That would be cool.
Bring Tomorrowland to life, literally.
Yeah, and they don't really do much at Walt Disney World as far as projections on Space Mountain, but to me, I think that would be a cool surface to project stuff onto.
Yeah, I do agree because I mean, at least with Disneyland, like when they did the Mickey's Mix Magic and Disneyland Forever, I loved how they had the projections. No matter where you were standing, you got a different outlook. Whether you were in front of the castle, on Main Street, in front of the Matterhorn, in front of It's a Small World, you got a different viewpoint depending on where you were standing. And I think for how big Walt Disney World is, I think that they could do a lot with that. Not even just in the Magic Kingdom, but with all the parks.
Yeah, and with Tomorrow or with Tron coaster opening soon, they'd be able to do. You'd have more viewpoints from there too. Maybe that's going to be a Tron font on the new sign.
Well, let me ask you guys a question real quick. Have you guys been following the repainting of Tomorrowland over the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, how it's going kind of purple and gray and blue.
All the retro colors and the white. And so I'm wondering, do you guys think that how much of this is for Tron?
Oh, I'm thinking that's part of it for sure.
I think honestly, it's pretty much going to be the full center is going to be Tron. I think like no matter what they do, even if they were to take anything out, it's probably going to be geared towards Tron. Because they even said with the Speedway at some point or time, that's going to be designed to be Tron as well. I mean, Disney never confirmed it, but that was the long rumor that if they were not going to pull out the Speedway, that it would become something Tron related.
So now, speaking of Tron, on your first day after Tron opens, are you going to go to visit the Tron roller coaster your first day? After, like, say it opens whenever, and then your first day after it opens. Is that what you're going to do? Or are you going to stick to your traditional opening day traditions?
Oh, no, I'm going to run to Tron.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not going to...
Depending on, because as many of you passengers know, or if you don't know, that in the next 2 years from this summer, that I'm going to be an official Florida resident. So depending on the month that it opens, because I'm thinking they're going to have it open around summertime for the 50th anniversary, that it's possible that, and I know I may sound crazy, but I may be able to, being a Florida resident, be there on opening day just to get some vlogs out with my new YouTube channel. And
George, you'll have spare rooms at the house, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So speaking of first days, Jason, what do you do generally your first day when you go to either Disneyland or Disney World?
Usually what I do first day is get in the room and take a shower.
Okay.
After all that traveling and being in the airports on planes, I like to get freshened up. I like to unpack. And if it's Disney World, Stan, you can verify this. I like to spend my first night at the Poly. There is nothing that puts me more in a Walt Disney World mood than sitting out at the balcony of Trader Sam's with a nice drink and looking across
Bay Lake.
It's looking across Seven Seas Lagoon and seeing the castle in the background. That to me is the perfect chapter to the opening of my vacation. Now, if I have time, I do like to get a massage the first day before I go in the parks. Anytime I go on vacation, I like to get a massage that first day because I'm escaping work and real life, and nothing puts me in a better mood on my first day of vacation than getting all the tension and stress squeezed out of me.
That's pretty cool. That's something different. And how about you, George? What do you traditionally do on your first day?
For me, for Disneyland, I was a late bloomer. I have not had the opportunity to visit Disneyland until I was 21. I went out for my 21st birthday. I actually did Walt Disney World and Disneyland that year. But that first year, I was in such awestruck to the fact of that when I was pulling in, I got to see the top peak of the Matterhorn Mountain, and I got to see Grizzly River Run, Grizzly Peak. At the time, it was the Tower of Terror before it became Mission Breakout. And by the time I got to my hotel, which I stayed on Harbor Boulevard and one at Disney's Good Neighbor Hotel, I believe at that time it was the Portofino Inn, that I was so excited. I literally checked in, opened the door. I didn't even walk into the room. And I threw my suitcase in, literally threw it in, and shut the door, and I went to the park. So I was like complete opposite of what Jay had done. And that actually became a tradition with Disneyland, that literally when I get the opportunity to go, because with being an East Coast person, I don't get to go very often. So when I go to Disneyland, I literally, whatever hotel I'm staying in, I literally open the door. I don't even walk in, throw my luggage in, and I head to the parks. For Walt Disney World, it's a little bit of a different story because we usually stay on property. We get the Magical Express. And I think, even though that's pretty much typical, I think that's still a tradition because a lot of people that even if they stay or they don't stay on Walt Disney World property, they can rent a car or, they could be staying off property with friends or family. But I think it's a tradition for me that when I do stay on property, I love getting the Magical Express because it's pretty much setting up at the airport, ready to take
you get off the plane and you're right into the Disney bubble, basically.
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. Before the Magical Express, I always have to go into Mickey's Airport. Every single time I have to go into Mickey's Airport. And again, it sets the stage, that anticipation. And then Magical Express. And then by the time I get to the resort, I pretty much am the same with Jay there. Usually with Disney World, I like to take a quick shower, just kind of change my clothes, get refreshed. I think it's more so because with Walt Disney World, it's an entire complex. It's a huge resort. So I don't know, for some reason, I like to get freshened up and everything. And I always do Magic Kingdom my first day. And kind of speaking with the last day, I also do the Magic Kingdom my last day.
Same.
Okay.
I like to bookend it. Magic Kingdom, Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. That seems. I think that's pretty common. I think that's what most people. Their first day is going to be Magic Kingdom, or their first full day at the very least. For myself, I'm a bit of a tightwad, so as soon as I hit property, I get off the Magic Express. I don't even bother going to my room. I head straight to the outlet mall and visit the Character Warehouse store. That's my first stop. And I like to do it that way because often you'll see stuff at the Character Warehouse store that are deeply discounted and and the same items, sometimes you'll see them in the park. Like I've gone to the Character Warehouse and then the next day I've gone to the park and I've seen the exact same item I had just bought for like 70% off at the Character Warehouse. And I like a good deal. So I go to the Character Warehouse usually the first day. I take an Uber. And then I'll go like to a Target or a Walmart and pick up some cereal bars or whatnot. Jason?
Stan, I've been thinking about the Character Warehouse because now that I'm an uncle, I'm going to start taking the nephew with us. I'm thinking maybe it'd be a good idea to hit the Character Warehouse first day and get some of those items and stick them in a backpack and kind of reveal them throughout the trip and be like, here you go, here's something. So that if we're walking through a shop and he sees something, he wants something, here you go, I already have something for you.
Yeah, perfect idea. I agree with. I think that's a brilliant first day, but everyone does it differently. What about you, George?
No, I actually would have to agree with you with that, especially after the fact that I become a local. I would pretty much be able to do Walt Disney World differently than as a tourist traveling, down. So I think honestly, going to the Disney outlets and everything and getting everything together, if I was just even visiting the park on a day or just taking a weekend, I think that would definitely benefit.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I posted this question out on my Facebook page and I asked, basically, I'll read what I asked. I said, we're looking for some people to join us on our next adventure. What do you traditionally do on your first and last day at Walt Disney World, Walt Disneyland? Comment below and we may read your comments on our next show. So I just wanted to read some of those comments and see what you guys think about some of our passengers' first days, what they do. So Troy Houghton wrote, at Walt Disney World, we always start with Animal Kingdom. And our first thing is the Lion King show. And on the last day, we generally leave in the middle of the day. So we do a walk around the Magic Kingdom and stop to get toffee at the candy store. Generally no rides that day. We just do a walkthrough. So first day Animal Kingdom. So that's different than what you guys would do. You guys usually do Magic Kingdom. What are your thoughts on Troy's first day?
I think that's very interesting, especially, I don't know why, every single time that I book a Disney World vacation and, set everything up with the restaurants and the dining and everything, that for some reason, Animal Kingdom always becomes the last park that we visit. And I don't even try to do it that way.
And I think that's pretty typical.
Yeah. But to actually, I think that'd be very interesting to try to experience Animal Kingdom for the beginning of your visit.
I like that because I know for me I tend to go in the order they open to Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Studios, Animal Kingdom. So maybe I should break it up next time and not do Magic Kingdom first. Maybe and build up the anticipation to Magic Kingdom.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the tour guides, because generally people, they arrive on Saturday and then they'll go Sunday to Magic Kingdom. So Magic Kingdom is very busy that day. I tend to travel. I go on a Tuesday or Thursday generally because my vacation weeks are pretty flexible. Like I don't have to leave on Friday or Saturday. So it's kind of different for myself. But I know for a lot of families, so going your first day at Animal Kingdom is probably a good idea because the crowds may be lower that day if you're arriving on a Saturday or a Sunday.
That is true. I mean, I even thought of doing something completely bizarre. I was thinking of, well, now, again, not to keep on mentioning, of becoming a Florida local.
Just pretend you're not local yet. You're
Quit rubbing it in our face, George.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no. I was actually thinking of doing this as a tourist traveling down, but now that I'm going to become a local, this is probably when I'm down there, that I was planning a little getaway couple days for me and Jess to stay at the boardwalk and to not use any Disney transportation at all, literally just go to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, that it's walkable from the resort, and not do Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. So I think that's kind of funny that even though I had said to do as a tradition to go to Magic Kingdom first day, that little mini trip wouldn't even include Magic Kingdom at all.
Well, I think this question for opening day really doesn't pertain to locals so much. I think this is more for people that go once a year, once every 2 years, maybe 2 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
George, this is for locals.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, George, you're local now. You're no longer allowed in this episode.
That's what I'm saying.
Mute yourself, dude. You're out. We're talking now.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to do when I become a local, so I'm going to wait. But technically, before I find out I was going to be a local, that's what I was going to do.
Okay.
Let's move on.
I love Troy's final day where he just walks around Magic Kingdom. They get some toffee from the candy store. That's a great tradition. I think that's nice.
Troy, I do the same thing at Magic Kingdom. I do this maybe even at Disney Springs before I leave, and I've talked about this before. I like to get some Disney fudge on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Take it home, put it in the freezer. And that way, I'm always going to taste of Disney when I need it.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do too. That's a great, awesome tradition. Then Shelley Sandholm. I'm going to screw everyone's name, so don't take it personally. Her first day, she would arrive at Walt Disney World. They eat at Ohana at night, and then they go off to Magic Kingdom to ride a few rides, watch the fireworks, and stay for the goodnight kiss. The last night, they go to Boma and see the animals. I think this is more traditional. Going, Magic Kingdom the first night and Ohana opening night. That I've done that, and that is a great tradition. What do you guys think of that one?
Love Ohana.
Yeah, I love Ohana too. I never done it on the first night though.
Yeah, my wife's first ever trip, first night was Ohana.
Guys, I'm going to ask you because my next trip, mother, sister, nephew are coming for the first time. And I like to do Polly the first night, so maybe we, with the nephew, instead of doing Trader Sam's, we'll do Ohana.
Double thumbs up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what my wife wants to go again, so she must have liked it. That was a perfect first night. We did Ohana on her first ever trip. It was actually our 25th wedding anniversary too.
I love the food. The food is awesome.
That is the best food around. That steak on those skewers, oh man!
The steak is the best. I mean, I like the chicken, I like the shrimp, but the steak, that's
yeah. And so then I
like Stitch. So if Stitch is there, it's the perfect dining experience.
I believe Stitch is there for breakfast only. I don't think he's there for dinner. Yeah. So then Brian Scotia, who is a local, he said, but when I travel, I usually take Victory Circle. Generally, it's a park that the castle is in. I just roam around getting a feel for the changes, the crowd size, maybe a snack, maybe a ride, and then back to the resort or somewhere for food, and then fireworks if it's late. So Brian is a local to Walt Disney World, but when he travels to another park anywhere in the world, he'll go to whatever park has the castle. That's his tradition. And again, I think that's pretty common. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, again, I'm going to say it again, so you guys could scrutinize and every time I mention it, but here we go. That I can agree with that notion. I can agree with that notion because I won't even just say me. I'll just say anybody that's a Florida local.
Wait, stop, George.
Yeah.
Say you're a local again. Say it.
I'm a local.
You've been Sonic.
I knew you were grabbing.
Every time you say it, I'm going to Sonic you.
I knew you were grabbing for something. I was waiting. I
thought he was going to cut his earbuds and go and shut down the podcast.
But
I have my Sonic screwdriver handy, and I'm going to Sonic you every time.
Oh, there! Now we can hear. I couldn't hear it at first.
But I wasn't going to say it.
Say it.
But for anyone who is, that would be the best approach because you could pretty much just go and, walk around, see the sights, not have to worry about doing any of the rides. Maybe do a ride here or there, and then, walk out and do something else, And especially like with the other parks, like if he goes to the other parks, does he go? I don't know if he has ever been to the international parks, but, that could be something for a vacation, being that he is a local.
Yeah, I believe he has, and what is great is he scopes out the changes from when he was there last. I think that's a good tradition as well.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm. And then Chris Egner wrote on his first night, he usually takes pictures from the Bay Lake Towers, and on the last night he usually watches illuminations. So yeah, I know Chris takes amazing photos. If you ever want to see great photos of his, he took one of the Animal Kingdom Lodge lobby. That is like one of the best photos of the Animal Kingdom Lodge lobby I've ever seen.
And that's where I think going to a Disney resort, primarily more so for Walt Disney World, but you could even still say for Disneyland, that's where you can literally say that you can go how many times and you still won't be able to see it all. And what it means is not necessarily by every attraction, but just the fact of taking in the small little details where you could just take the time and snap pictures and get a different perspective of something that you may not even pay attention to.
Oh yeah, and I love taking photos too. I don't take anything nearly as nice as Chris does, but I enjoy going and just having a library of photos at my disposal in case I ever want to post something. And yeah, that's a great way to do it. Is you go around and spend the day taking photos, and if you're doing it your first day, it's Then Jeremy Golf wrote, "Our first and last stop on every trip is Magic Kingdom. We like to greet the castle, Animal Kingdom, AKA."
Say that again.
Animal, AKA.
Hey, Mrs. Robinson, knock it off. You. I saw that leg lift. I saw that bare leg lift, Mrs. Robinson. Knock it off.
I had to pop my knee.
That's what the kids call it these days.
What is AKA?
Also known as.
Oh, okay. I'm going to read the Star Wars one over.
We lost George. We've totally lost George.
Okay. Then Jeremy Golf wrote, "Our first and last stop on every trip is Magic Kingdom. We like to greet the castle, AKA our home, upon arrival, and then say goodbye on our way out. I'm not crying, you're crying." And I think I had quite a few people wrote in that they cry on their first day or their last day.
I cry on both days, but for different reasons.
I cried, but nobody sees it.
See, I like how Jeremy says, "I'm not crying, you're crying." I thought that was.
I'm one that literally, especially on the last day, again, walking out of the Magic Kingdom, I will literally take steps, turn back and look at the castle, take a couple more steps, turn back to the castle. So each time I turn to the castle, it's getting farther and farther away until I could get that last look before walking out of the exit.
Oh, now you're making me cry.
You know, I'm actually completely different than everybody here because on my last day, my last visit, I look at the castle and I think, I will see you real soon. It's not goodbye, it's I will see you soon.
Yeah, that sign they have above the exit, see you real soon.
It's a bummer to go back to the real world, but I pump myself up for my next trip rather than lament the end of this trip.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do after the fact that I come home, but like walking out of there, I am very depressed. Like I tend to kind of shut down. I'm very quiet.
So Jess has to carry you over her shoulder, kicking and screaming all the way.
Pretty much.
I'm not carrying you in October. You're on your own.
You know, they don't allow the oversized strollers anymore, so I'm not sure how she's going to handle it this next trip. And then Jessica Boy wrote, both days are spent at Magic Kingdom. And yeah, I think that's pretty common. I think everyone would agree.
Yeah.
RJ Kisma, he wrote in and he said, the first day we always go right to the Magic Kingdom and see the castle, unless we arrive at night. And that affects things too, if you're coming in later or earlier. And their last day, they always do a nice sit-down dinner.
I like that.
I've done that once back in 2006, where I went down with my whole family. We had dinner our last night. We ate at Raglan Road at the time when it was still Downtown Disney.
Yeah, I like the last day dinner idea. I think that's good. I like the traditions where our last day is we get the fudge, or we get toffee, or we go for a dinner. Having a tradition on your last day, I think that might help with the pain of leaving a little bit.
I'm gonna try that next. I'm gonna do do one of the nice dinners on the way out.
Yeah. And also what you said, Stan, too, depending on when you arrive in. Now, there have been times where I have arrived, late at Walt Disney World. Usually when that happens, then I just pretty much just hang around the hotel.
Yeah. Then Angela Zizak says, on our first day, Walt Disney has either been a park or resorts or Disney Springs. Our last day has always been Hollywood Studios for the Fantasmic show. Okay. I asked her, like, why do you switch it up? Like, what caused you to, how do you decide? Did you get card calendars, or where you can get fast passes or whatnot? And she says that we often decide in advance which parks and which days, especially if we have a dining plan to make our reservations. So that can affect your first day as well, where you can get a reservation for if that's what you're planning on doing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You also have to take that into consideration as well, because if you really can't get a reservation, like if it's at a specific park during a day that you want to go into that park, but you still want to have that dining, then you're going to have to
Yeah, you only have one day at Magic Kingdom. You can't get Beast Campbell first day, but you can get Beast Castle on the second day. You might have to change things up a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And as far as the Fantasmic goes, I was saying, here's another funny little tidbit about me. For some bizarre reason, I can't see Fantasmic during the last night. I have to see it midway through the vacation. Don't ask me why. I have no idea.
Because it's a really magical walk, and you're crying all the way from the Fantasmic to the main gate.
Hey, George, that's your magical intermission.
Yes. I like that. I have to keep that.
Yeah. I liked Kimberly Bouchard's response. Hers was very simple. Her first day and her last day, she cries.
I can relate.
Yeah. I don't think she's alone. In that one. Then Arthur Mills, she responded, and she said on her first day we are usually at Magic Kingdom for some reason. She doesn't really know why, but they've always done Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin as their very first attraction. Now, is this a situation of you're turning right and that's the first attraction when you turn right when you go in? Do you think that might be? She says she's not going to know why she does it. But
I always go left. I always start in Adventureland.
See, I always go straight to the Haunted Mansion when the park opens. I think it's just whatever your
preference.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of people go right. My very first day, very first trip at Walt Disney World, I went right. And I went into Tomorrowland. My daughter and I went in on a Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin. And actually, it wasn't our very first day. It was like our second day. First day we went to Downtown Disney. But the ride broke down. And we had dinner reservations at Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary. So we were late getting to Chef Mickey's because attraction broke down on Space Ranger spin. And it was, for whatever reason, I wanted to do that one first because it was one of the ones I watched all these YouTube videos and researching for my first trip. And I really wanted to do that one. So I wanted to make sure I was able to do it. So that's where we went first.
Buzz is a great ride. There's a reason it's in every park across the globe.
Yeah. And it my first attraction, first time ever, it broke down. So I was off to a great start.
You didn't take that as a sign, did you?
No,
Okay,
not at all. No. I'm not sure if I'm just not superstitious or I'm just too stupid.
I think the rides know you can't really ride most of them, so it's just letting you know.
Yeah, but it was making sure I was okay partway through. But we broke down in the part, you know where the lights spin around? That wasn't very good for my motion sickness. Because the lights kept spinning around.
The old Speedway tunnel?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, dude, I don't get motion sickness, and that would
that would give me a headache. That would give me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's me. Like I go left, Pirates, Splash Mountain, Big Thunder.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
it's Pirates. It's Haunted Mansion every time. Disneyland or Walt Disney World. That's the first one I go to.
I think I usually do Pirates first when I go. I just wander around. I don't really have a plan.
That's funny. That's how it is with the Magic Kingdom. With the other parks, I pretty much do wander around, not really have a set base. For some reason, it's more so with Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it depends on how long the line is, stuff like that.
Yeah.
John Stallings replied, he said, since we drive down, the first day we usually just chill at a resort or have dinner at one of the other resorts. The last day we shop and have lunch at Disney Springs before we drive home.
So that's more of a laid back type of. I like that. I think I have to do more of that when going there because it's more so, the hustle and bustle of okay, let's try to get our money's worth going. I think if you pretty much just kind of stop and step back and just like okay, let's resort hop or go have a nice dinner at Disney Springs. I like that.
Yeah, and it's a great way to see the different resorts is by going to different resorts for dinner.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for going to Disney Springs last, too, because you can tell the kids the whole trip. And you're in the parks. Look at what you want. Pick what you want. We'll go to World of Disney the last day. You don't need to get this at the park and lug it around.
I agree with that. I say get it everything the last day. Pick and choose. Write a list. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, pick the things you really want and get them the last day.
Yeah, unless it's a Norwegian water bottle that they only sell at Norway and Epcot. They won't find that at World of Disney.
You make them forget.
I'm just speaking from experience, that's all.
Use the Force.
Then Joy Gately Hargraves wrote in, her first day is normally at Magic Kingdom, where they walk down Main Street and just be with the castle and the Walt and Mickey statue. Now that the hub is there, she sometimes likes to just sit down and take it all in. I'm actually there before I start the day there. I take it all in. That I'm actually there before I start the day in the park.
Guys, I'm real sorry. Through the magic of editing, the listeners won't know. We're going to take a few minutes off because Peter Parker here needs to go potty.
Okay, and I got to reread this one anyways.
You're right back.
Should we just continue without him? Like you could answer this one without him?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So then Joy Gately Hargraves replied, first day is normally at Magic Kingdom, where I walk down Main Street and just be with the castle and the Walt/Mickey statue, the partner statue. Now that the hub is there, I sometimes just sit and take it all in that I'm actually there before I start the day in the park. On the last day, she likes to eke out some hours at Epcot before return to Magic Kingdom, then she cries.
That's, so when she says she goes to the partner statue, I guess she spends just a little bit of time like in the morning, like before like doing anything else, just to kind of take it all in. I'm assuming that's
that's what I'm reading, is that she's just enjoying the peaceful and the quietness and letting it sink in where she is for the rest of her vacation.
And then you said at the end she eats around Epcot, and then goes back to Magic Kingdom for the final.
So eke out some hours is what she wrote. So like spend some time
Gotcha.
before she has to leave. She'll try to squeeze in a little bit more time at either Magic Kingdom or Epcot.
Gotcha. I thought it said eat.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how I'm like the way Disney has it set up. If you buy so many days, the more days you get, the cheaper it is. Unless you're an annual pass holder, you can go no problem. But if it's only an extra $15 for an extra day, but you know darn well you're only going to be there until noon, it might be worth it to spend the extra $15, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. There were times where even if I was leaving through half day, and I was only getting maybe like 5 or 6 hours in the park, which that could be a lot for some people, but for me, I could go 12, 13 hours in the park. So
Yeah.
5 or 6 is like really low, but it could only be like a $10 more difference. And it's like, okay, well, I could spend the $10 on something else, or I could spend $10 for just one more day in one of the parks.
Well, yeah, exactly. And like we're going to Disneyland next month, and I'm trying to figure out how many days to go because I'm going to have 3 full days. Now, is it worth it for me to spend a little bit more and do a couple of park days? Because I can't spend full days. I won't be able to have time. But that's what I'm struggling with right now. We'll play it by ear. I like playing things by ear. We'll see how it goes. TD Mitchell Tree said, our first and last day we went to Epcot. I like Animal Kingdom on the first day, though. I think it's really because he enjoys the animals. I like the River of Lights. Okay, first person ever to tell me that. River of Light is beautiful. It's just not for me. I like to finish our last day at Magic Kingdom, no doubt. I'll be making their first trip to Disneyland in December. So, George, you have any advice for them in Disneyland, their first trip in December, first day?
I would say, based on, because I didn't have any advice or anything going, I was literally going out to Disneyland blindsided. I didn't know what to expect, but I would definitely say that if you're staying on property, or if you're staying at a good neighbor hotel, whatever, which way you go, I would still definitely say, even though it's Disneyland, to still kind of take it easy and literally just don't do a lot of rushing. I'll say that. Even though they're not as big of parks as Walt Disney World, take the time and enjoy it, especially because if it's your first time. Because, again, I say this a lot, comparing apples to oranges, Disneyland and Walt Disney World have 2 completely different feels to them.
They're 2 totally different things entirely. And I tell clients this because, George, you and I are travel agents with Pixie Dust of Dreams Travel and Events. Going to Disneyland is you're visiting a resort in a city. Walt Disney World, you're going to a city the same way you'd be visiting like Chicago or New York. They're so different, you can't compare them.
And it seems like Disneyland is a bit more laid back. I've only been once to Disneyland, but I didn't feel the rush like I do at Disney World, my first trip at Disney World. Maybe it was because I had more experience going to Disney World several times before I went to Disneyland that I felt that way, or is that how it is?
Disneyland is way more laid back.
I like to compare it as, and this is going to sound very corny, Walt Disney World as going to a chic dine-in restaurant, and Disneyland as a grandmother's home-style dinner.
You're talking about my home park.
Can you explain that?
I'm saying, like, it's very homey. It's very, like, you feel at home when you go to Disneyland. Like, when you walk into, your grandmother's home and you have a fully cooked meal for you ready, you have, like, that feeling of family.
Okay, that part I get. Now, what do you mean by like Disney World being a chic, fancy restaurant? You have to dress up for it?
No, I mean just like in comparison, like where Disney World feels more contemporary, where Disneyland feels more personal.
Okay.
I actually get what you're saying, George, and Disneyland is a locals park, and you can feel it. It is not rushed in the same way Disney World is, where Magic Kingdom is a once in a lifetime or once every 5 or 10 years for most people. Being a Southern California resident, I can tell you Disneyland is somewhere you go for lunch. And so there isn't that hurried, rushed feeling. There isn't that feeling of I've got to get my money's worth today.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
So passengers, you have my really bad analogy for the week.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Writing that down for the show notes.
So Kim Pecchiano wrote in and she said, she says they're boring. It's a long travel day by plane. So their first day, they always stay at the resort, grab a bite at a quick service, jump in the pool with their son, explore, check, get groceries delivered to the room. I think that's a great idea. Unpack, rewind. Then our scheduled days, parks revolve around which days they wanted the extra magic hours or not. So they take full advantage of the extra magic hours, I'm guessing. That changes every trip, though. Their last park day, we usually try to get some packing in, which is something everyone unfortunately has to do. I mean, that's face reality. And in the end, later in the night, they get it all in where they can. So they spend resort day, basically, their first day. They get groceries delivered, waiting for the groceries to be delivered. I think that's
a great way to do it, because you're not coming to the resort and then hopping right into the madness. You're taking some time to, it's like dipping your toe in the water. You're easing into this vacation.
Yeah.
Which I wish I would do more of.
Yeah, and
I
that's what I was gonna say. I think I need to start doing that too, because now that I'm feeling myself getting older, and the resort's getting bigger, to kind of pace myself and say, you know what, let's do the first day just as a day of R&R.
Yeah, and Kim and David are DVC members, so they'll stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge or Bay Lake Towers, so they I believe they're DVC members, but they stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Savannah View. So if you could be staying there, yeah, spend some time at the resort for sure. And then Joshua Garcia wrote in and he said his first day at Walt Disney World is Animal Kingdom. Last day at Walt Disney World is Disney Springs. First day at Disneyland is Uncontrollable Sobbing. And their last day at Disneyland is Uncontrollable Sobbing.
Again, I can relate.
What's interesting is, okay, so we've read a few of these, and there's the three of us, and none of us don't do Hollywood Studios or Epcot first day so far. Everybody's been Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World.
I can tell you for me, Studios is like my magical intermission because the Tower of Terror is there.
Mm-hmm. And then Rick Forbes wrote in and he says he wished he had a traditional thing to do his first and last day, but they don't. We just kind of make plans where we think would be good for our family that day.
Just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Then our co-host, Mindy, she wrote in, and her ride, she likes to ride the Disneyland train one last round and give the kiss goodbye every night before they leave. Is with her Disneyland, I'm assuming, or is that Disney World? That'd be Disney World.
I don't know if I think she may just be referencing, just the kiss goodnight, just in general.
Just in general. But I get that. Just where she hits the train, doesn't matter which castle park she's in. Yeah. She does the entire loop because it's a great way to say goodbye to the entire park. Yeah,
she takes a Grand Circle tour around the park. I'm surprised that Mindy said this because I thought for sure, I didn't, like, I've never talked to Mindy about this before, but I thought for sure that she would say goodbye or goodnight to Walt's lamp as she left Disneyland.
I'm for sure she probably does right before she gets on the train.
I always expect her last thing to be Storybook Land canal boats.
And I bet that was before she walks over to the lamp, before she gets onto the train.
Because my last day at Disneyland was, I said goodnight to I took a look at the lamp and kind of gave it a nod. Then our final one was Melissa Carnes, and she I don't understand hers at all, but she likes to get her picture from Buzz and stamp the date on it.
So I'm
guessing she means
she likes to get her picture taken with Buzz.
I'm guessing that's like photo passion.
What I'm thinking she does is maybe she has children, and as they're growing, she gets a picture with Buzz the final day, or the first day maybe, and she stamps the date on the picture, so then every year they could see how much the kids have grown, or every trip they could see how much the kids have grown. That's what I'm assuming. That's what that means, and that's a great idea too. A lot of people, they like to do that. They like to, on every trip, they'll take their kids and they'll get a picture with a totem pole at a lodge they're staying at or whatever.
I'm stealing that from my nephew. I'm going to find a spot to put him in and take a picture. And so we have a picture of him growing up through the years.
Yeah. Another really good one is the statue with Roy and Minnie on the bench. If you have them sit on that bench, that's a great one too to do, because you know they're not going to be removing that bench. You have to pick something that's highly unlikely that Disney's going to touch.
Yeah,
I would say.
Like the Tomorrowland entrance sign. That'll be there.
Yeah, like a Tomorrowland entrance sign, something like that. Something that you know is going to be there forever.
Well, for me, it's something like that would be like Fortune Red over at the exit to Pirates of the Caribbean. Fortune Red's not going anywhere. He's just kind of a tradition.
Fortune Red?
You've never heard of Fortune Red?
Okay, is this in Disneyland?
This is Disneyland, and this is in the Pieces of 8 shop. Fortune Red is the pirate fortune teller.
And you put like a coin in, or?
Put a coin in, and he does the piece of music they use for Fortune Red. You can get on the soundtrack to Pirates. But he's just like Tilly over at the cinema, but he's a little pirate, and he dispenses you a fortune.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. Like I say, I've only been to Disneyland once, and
I want a picture of you in front of Fortune Red.
I'll be looking for Fortune Red at the Pieces of 8 shop.
Pieces of 8, right at the exit to Pirates.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'd like to keep this conversation going, but we are running out of time. So visit our Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders Facebook page and let us know what you traditionally do on your first and last day.
Dan, I want to do this one again, but I want to know what people's first and last rides are.
That'd be fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Part 2,
first and last rides. I don't have a first and last ride. Do you guys have first and last rides?
Mm-hmm. Haunted Mansion and Haunted Mansion.
Not Tower of Terror?
Tower of Terror is my magical intermission. It's not even the Hollywood Studios to me. It's the place that the Tower of Terror lives at.
Okay. But anyways, write in to our Magical Ticket Holders Facebook page. Join our group and let us know what you do traditionally on your first and or last day. And I find it fascinating how people have different traditions. It's something that the human psyche. Cool.
It definitely gave me some insight of what to do.
Passengers, thank you for your writing in, because I'm going to cherry pick some things for my future trips.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. We can definitely get some ideas from from other people. And with that being said,
I'm sorry, and just real quick, and of course, I won't have to do it as much as Jay will, because I'm a Florida resident.
George, plug Pixie Dusted for us.
And passengers, don't forget to check out Pixie Dusted Dreams Travel and Events. As Jay has mentioned earlier, both he and I are travel agents. We will help you with all your vacation needs, whatever you need. We will hold your hand all the way up until your trip and then some. You could find us and other travel agents at pixiedusteddreams.com.
And with that being said, take it away, Ken.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders. While on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tour. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, as well as Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to send us a message, you can email us at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
From one of the world's most gifted motion picture creators comes Disneyland, whose wondrous portals open to Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, and Fantasyland. Fantasyland, where even elephants can fly, and little boys understand the simple language of the animals they love. Tomorrowland, taking you on miraculous trips to outer space, far beyond the orbits mankind has reached today. Adventureland, bringing you exciting stories of man's exploits and of the animals Walt Disney loves so well. Frontierland, where men of the mountains and men of the plains tame America's flaming frontier. Disneyland, It's wonder, fantasy, and adventure. See it every week on ABC.